Oh my goodness. It's fun. What? She just didn't want to die. She didn't want me to beat the game. She just didn't want me to.
Chris!
There's just no other way around it.
Claire!
She just didn't want me to
No!
win. Fuck. Thank God I'm done with that shit, man. Done. Fucking done. Oh shit. Zombies. Shit. Alright, Chris. Excuse me. Man should have played football instead of trying to kill bioweapons for a living.
Chris!
Well done, Chris. It turns out that Alexia's work wasn't much of anything. So now, the only thing left is revenge.
Let her go, Wesker! You don't want her.
Fine.
Claire!
Today's a good day. I came for Alexia, but killing you is even better.
Sorry to disappoint you, but Alexia is gone.
That's no longer a concern to me. I have Steve to work with.
What?
Steve.
In his body, there's still a living T. Alexia virus. Steve should be a good specimen. Maybe he'll come back alive just as I did, and be able to see your sister again.
You freak.
Don't you touch him!
I'm sorry, dear heart. But my men have already taken him.
You get out of here, Claire.
But what about...
As a surviving member of STARS, I have to finish this.
Remember your promise.
Say hello to my comrades you've killed.
I don't know where you get your confidence, Chris.
Spartan kicked out here.
The self-destruct system has been activated. All personnel evacuate
Gotta pilot
immediately.
this?
The self-destruct system has been activated. All personnel evacuate immediately.
Excuse me. Now he's just throwing hate at that. He's not even trying anymore. He's having fun with this. Damn.
Sure, I'm not human anymore. But just look at the power I've gained.
Jesus. This isn't a light guy too either, so just being able to toss him around like a goddamn ragdoll. That's something.
Magnificent, don't you think?
That was a hell of a dive because that was not close by. That was a fucking lunge. That didn't beat him. Come on. I'd say no way in hell that beat him. No way in hell.
Huh?
Nice try.
Wesker.
Nice try.
Today's your lucky day. Next time we meet, don't count on another.
Next time.
Until we meet again.
I'm pretty sure he's just gonna go escape on that sub right there.
Chris, where are you?
That's just catching on fire.
Focus, go.
Chris!
Hey, you know that I always keep my promises.
Enough of them formalities. Gotta start the goddamn airplane. Let's go.
Chris, promise me. Please promise that you won't leave me alone again.
I'm sorry, Claire, but it's not over yet. There's still something we've got to do.
You mean...
Yeah, it's payback time. We've got to destroy Umbrella. Now, let's finish this once and for all.
Finally over. I have so many thoughts about this game. Let's start with all the good things. So this game surprised me a lot. I mean, they had spoken about it in reviews I had seen, but it just surprised me about the sheer set pieces. The graphics were, you know, really good for its time. The set pieces, like I said, I thought the weapons were pretty varied. I liked the variation between the weapons. I thought it was interesting to go for a two-person campaign rather than an A and B scenario. Means replayability is low, but I thought it was pretty cool to have a two-person campaign and be it specifically brothers. How apropos to the fact that we were going against a brother and sister as well. Well, brother and sister, not brother and brother. But so I thought that was interesting. I really liked the clothes that they were wearing. I thought the villains were quirky, but you know, funny. They did their job to at least make me feel unsettled. I wouldn't say scared, but unsettled. Wesker brought more fear into me than anything, but that's to be expected. It's Wesker. Yeah, he was getting the shit out of me. I was also really impressed with the environments. I really liked, you know, the prison area, and, you know, being in the underwater submarine, being in the mansion, the private residence. The Antarctic was a really cool change of pace. The game just felt very big. It felt very big. All the environments were huge for the most part. There were some tight corridors, of course, but the environments felt pretty big, and there was a lot of backtracking needed to find all the items. I made it very abundantly clear I missed some key items, being that Magnum, which really upset me. I also thought the boss fights were different. Each of them was different, and they tried to bring like a different kind of emotional attachment to each boss fight. I really enjoyed the camera angles. I thought those were very well done, really evoking a feeling of like, you know, grandeur and like, you know, space. It's really amazing what you're able to do when you don't have the capabilities to make an open world per se. So, you know, you gotta resort to sound effects and camera angles and stuff like that. Speaking of sound effects, I thought it was really cool whenever you opened the door, that the heartbeat sound would start going, and I would feel the vibration of my controller. I thought that was very cool. Excuse me. I like the weapon upgrades you're able to find. I kind of wish there was more than just for the handguns. It would have been cool if I could get shotgun upgrade, maybe grenade launcher upgrade, stuff like that. I didn't really find the crossbow particularly useful, unless you're talking about explosive rounds. Then those were useful. But the regular rounds, I just felt like really didn't do anything, unless you know, I was just using them all wrong. I felt like they didn't really do anything, in my opinion. I guess now I'll talk about, oh yeah, and I like the side characters, especially the first guy that let me out of the prison. He was cool. Steve was annoying, but you know, he was interesting. He had a little backstory going on. I kind of wish they delved a little further into his backstory of why he was even in the prison in the first place. I always liked finding the documents and everything, you know, keeping a date with all of that. Surprised I found all of them. I didn't expect that. I like the cutscenes and the set pieces. Like, those are some of the big, you know, stuff about the game. I thought it was an interesting take on the hunters to have a poison hunter called a sweeper. From all the other ones I've played, I don't think I've ever seen this sweeper, you know, come back into the series. But yeah, so they had sweepers. The Bandersnatches were annoying, but they were cool. The underwater creature, I forgot his name. He was kind of interesting too. Annoying boss fight, but interesting. I guess now I'll talk about the negatives. So the negatives, oh cool. I guess we went on vacation. Ranking E, I don't care. Number of retries. Yeah, I had a lot of retries. But I guess the negatives I would say about this game is I felt like the zombies were a little too strong, and at times the zombie threat felt a little too overwhelming in certain areas. Like there would be like 3 or 4 zombies in an area in a tight corridor. I know that's, you know, par for a course, but it just seemed like the zombies took a abnormal amount of bullets, you know, even though you're shooting them in the face. I also thought those little robot things, I forgot what they were called, but that would detect you and would send like a hunter towards your way. That was ridiculous. I'd never seen some shit like that in Resident Evil before. I would say another negative was I felt like it was pretty easy to get lost, to not know where I'm going, because of how, you know, big the areas were. I felt like it was easy to get lost or be uncertain of what I'm supposed to do, especially with some of the puzzles. I also felt like they could have handled the transition between Claire and Chris better, and what I mean by that is letting the player know, granted it's survival horror, but letting the player know that, hey, when you switch over to Chris is only going to hold on to items he's holding on to. So before you switch over to Claire, like how they told me when I went to Claire's second part. Before you switch over to Claire, put all your stuff in the box. I felt like that would have been cool to know, but I didn't know how valuable some of the things that Claire still held on to would have been for the end game for Chris. I didn't know. So there was a lot of unknowns with that. I felt like some of the bosses were a little cheap. You know, some of them were like bullet sponges. Especially that last boss, Veronica. I felt like she was ridiculous bullet sponge. I didn't like how they punished you for not keeping one item being the fire extinguisher. I still have no idea where I left that. Pretty sure I left it in the prison area. But I just think it's not cool when you have a very, you know, blase, you know, kind of item that was all the way in the beginning of the game, and because you don't have it at the end of the game and there's no way to go back and get it, it's just not possible without starting over. It makes the boss fight that much harder. I feel like there should have been other options. Granted, there's a grenade launcher, but again, I didn't know that I should slide everything towards Chris and put it in the box. I also didn't realize it would be a good idea to keep some of the explosive rounds for the crossbow. And what else could I mention in the game that I felt was kind of annoying? Yeah, I mean, that's really where my complaints stop. My complaints aren't long, but they are important, I would say. I would still say, even as frustrating as that last boss fight was, and it, goddamn, it was frustrating. I'd still say there was more positives and negatives about this game to me. I don't know if I would ever play this game again, especially since replayability is low. Even though there is a battle mode after you beat the game, I don't know if I'll be playing that. It's basically just like Mercenaries mode, but shorter. And it's not like never ending. It's like challenge rooms, kind of like in the first BioShock. So those aren't story related, so I most likely won't do those. But oh yeah, I guess one of my other complaints I could say is that last part, that last piece against Alexia, where I had to use the linear rocket launcher and shoot her. I felt like it was a little too difficult to catch her in the line of sight. Knowing how difficult that second part is and having to redo it from the first part over and over again gets very tiresome, and not being able to hit her because as soon as you line it up and shoot her, she just dodges to the left, and you have to get lucky that she sits in that spot where you're at. Was kind of annoying, but I understand, you know, it's kind of par for the course sometimes. But yeah, I thought it was cool to see Claire again, especially since I played her in Resi 2, so it's cool to see her in another game. It was cool to see another part of Chris's story, just to see how bad, you know, the relations between him and Wesker are. So yeah, I mean, that was interesting. I thank you guys for watching faithfully as always, and I will see you guys. One second. Let me click on Battle Game real quick. But I will see you guys for the next video.
Okay, yeah, so basically select the player. And those are the items they give you, and you got to be able to clear the place in a certain amount of time and whatnot. Yes, anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.